Hey everyone, welcome to today's live Q&A. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of questions right now about Amazon and how COVID-19 is affecting it. So I want to do a live Q&A to answer all of your questions. Go ahead and start dropping them in the chat box, and I'm here for you for the next 45 minutes or so. I saw there was one good question here. It's like, what's the best way to know whether a specific product is considered essential and that Amazon accepts them? Under inventory, when you go to restock inventory, it will actually show you on that page which of your SKUs are eligible to be restocked. So each day it looks like they're allowing more and more products. And actually today's the first day. I just went there and looked at it. Today's the first day where they're showing all of my products as eligible to be sent into Amazon's fulfillment centers. So from what we can tell, like each day they allow a few more and more, and yeah, all mine are being allowed now, even though a lot of these I wouldn't consider essential at all. So that's good news. This one says, is it better to source products for Amazon's essential list or continue with regularly popular products? My best guess is within the next week or two that Amazon will kind of go back to like normal, that they will have staffed up to be able to support this increase of demand on their platform. And the result of that is the shipping times will go back to what we typically expect, and they'll be accepting all inbound shipments. That's, no one knows for sure, but that's my best guess. I've even noticed that I ordered a few things that said they weren't shipping until like April 27th, and then like the next day they were shipped. So it's, I think all signs are pointing to Amazon now like getting staffed up and being able to handle this increase of demand. How reliable are the numbers considering several products are out of stock? I assume you're talking about Jungle Scout's sales estimates. And it doesn't matter whether or not certain ASINs are out of stock. That doesn't affect the accuracy of the way that we build our models. So the numbers are still reliable even though products are out of stock. When will we be able to create a new shipping plan? If you go to inventory and then inventory planning and then one of the tabs restock inventory, you can see on there which products you're able to send in. I just said this at the beginning, but actually it looks like now they're accepting all of my products. So I'm able to create a shipping plan for all my products at this point. You still might have some of yours restricted, but it seems like each day they're allowing more and more and more. How about a new listing? I'm able to create new listings in my account right now. I don't know if that's, I don't think it's for only certain types. I'm pretty sure you can create new listings for all products right now. Would you recommend launching a product using FBM as opposed to FBA during this time to minimize the risk? If you're looking to minimize risk and Amazon is accepting your shipments of your product right now, I would probably send half my inventory into Amazon and hold on to half of it. The reason I say that is one, like you would prefer for it to be fulfilled by FBA because that way it's Prime eligible. It's quite cost effective when you compare it to other 3PLs. It's just all around pretty good deal. In the event that it takes longer than I'm expecting for them to really get staffed up to handle all this extra demand, then your product could be one of those ones that isn't supposed to ship for a few weeks. The result of that is like the conversion rate would be lower. So then if you had some inventory that you held back, you could still fulfill those orders yourself and with fast shipping times. Is it a good time to start selling a new product on Amazon? From everyone I talked to and looking at my own sales on Amazon as a whole seem to be up around 30 to 40%. Now, for some people who don't have any of the products that are essential, their sales might be down a little bit, but for Amazon as a whole, that's kind of like what we're seeing. So if I look into my crystal ball and try to predict the future, I'm guessing that sales on Amazon are going to continue to be elevated for the entire time that like kind of the quarantine's going on throughout most of America. And then I would guess that Amazon sales stay inflated after that. And the reason for that is I think this is just my opinion, but my opinion is a lot of like the slow adopters to start transitioning a lot of their retail spend online are now kind of being forced to do it because a lot of the retail stores are closed down. And I think just like everyone else, they're going to kind of get hooked on it, see how easy it is. And it's like, why am I wasting my time driving around buying all this stuff? I'll just order it off Amazon. So I think that there's never been a better time to order or to start selling. Is Amazon allowing new sellers to sell priority products? As far as I know, yes. I haven't heard or seen anything that Amazon's limiting the new seller accounts or limiting people to sign up to sell on Amazon. So as far as I can tell, yes, Amazon is allowing it. Another similar question. Do you think Amazon will put new sellers on hold in a moment? No, I don't think so. How do you know which sales are organic? Amazon doesn't necessarily specify this. What you have to do is you have to look at the total sales and then look at how many sales you made through PPC, and then you could subtract those to determine how many are organic. If you have a Jungle Scout subscription, after you sync up your AWS keys, it will actually show you in there on your units sold how many of those were sold through PPC and how many of those were organic. So my screen share is not working right now, but I'm looking at a graph right now that shows my PPC sales as well as my organic sales. So that's really, really beneficial. This one says, sales have dropped significantly since the virus outbreak due to it being a non-essential and mostly long delivery times. However, the order is in the pipeline. Shall I consider FBA and FBM? So if you use FBM, so you're fulfilling the orders yourself, then what you can do is you can have faster ship times being shown on your listing. The result of that, it's going to convert better and you're going to make more sales. I don't quite know what you mean by the orders in the pipeline, but in my opinion, I think that things as far as which items Amazon's shipping, I think that they're going to start shipping everything in the next week or two is my best guess. When would certain features of the Jungle Scout app, such as Find Suppliers, be working for European marketplaces? So a lot of people use the Find Suppliers section to find factories to ship to the EU. So as you can imagine, if you find a factory that's in China or Taiwan or wherever it is, if they're exporting their goods to other countries, they likely would also export to the EU. So just because our shipment records and the database that we've built are only for US shipments, you can still use those same factories no matter where you're selling at, wherever in the world. So the data that we have in our Find Suppliers database isn't available for the EU just because some difference of laws. So we're not going to be adding shipments that go into the EU, but like I said earlier, it's still just as good to find factories. All right. Hey Greg, I'm new to FBA. What kind of marketing skills do I need to be successful? I'd say pretty minimum, to be honest. I'm going to assume that you're creating your own product or your own brand or private labeling something. You know, you're going to need to work out the photography, so you can either do that yourself or hire someone to do it for you. You're going to need to write the listing copy. We have a cool tool right inside of Jungle Scout that helps you build out a well-optimized listing. So honestly, it's not too much. That's kind of the beauty of Amazon, is all the traffic's already there. You know, as long as you're showing up in the search results, your product's priced competitively, and you're getting good reviews, you don't really need a lot of marketing skills. How do I get to see the competitor's inventory? I think there's a few ways here. Inside of Jungle Scout, there's a tool called Product Tracker. And the Product Tracker, oh nice. The Product Tracker will actually show you the inventory. So if it looks like theirs is out. Let me do another one. It will show you the inventory on these particular graphs. So that's one way. Now, the way you ask the question, I'm thinking you may have also been talking about their suppliers, and that's where you can do it inside of the supplier database. So if I search inside of there, I can see all of the factories that they would be using. So I can either search for their particular ASIN or their particular brand name, and with that, I can see what factories they're using, and then it will also give me a unit count for how many units were in that shipment. I'm a food manufacturer with private label wholesale services in Canada. Does Jungle Scout have an option to advertise or list suppliers? If you have ever imported your goods into the US, you're actually probably already in our supplier database, because we get it from the US import records from the government. If you want to type in your company name in the chat box, I'll take a look for you. I spend a lot of money for my budget to advertise my product on Amazon. Is there a way to improve the advertising using Jungle Scout? There are a couple things that Jungle Scout could do to help you here. One is the keyword research. Our keyword research tool is really popular because it is the way that we've built it to display the keywords that consumers search for and then end up purchasing your product is like very sophisticated, and the result of that is you usually learn a lot of keywords that you didn't know or understand before that people were searching for your particular product. So I say that's one way. Another way that's really beneficial is just improving the overall conversion rate of your product. That's like one of the best ways that you can go about spending less money on advertising, is because you have a better optimized listing that converts better. Is it a good time to do product research? As you mentioned, sales on Amazon are currently high. So would I be able to figure out the current situation for high demand, low competition? There's a few things that you can do to kind of help with this. One is you can look at the historical sales for a product. So the easiest way to do that is just to use the extension, and you can actually click on the monthly sales after they load, and it will show me, let's try for like this one. It will show me the historical monthly sales. So for this particular product, it was probably deemed a non-essential, really long ship times or whatever. the result of that is April, well, it's also a partial month, but their sales have been down a little bit in March and April. So this is a good way to just see like, okay, before that, were they higher or were they lower? Because what you're going to find is like, when I said sales on Amazon are up overall, that what you find is like some products are selling much better than normal and some products are selling less than normal. So it's just good to know and understand the historical sales. I want to stop sourcing products from China and looking for a good way to find suppliers, preferably from the US. Do you think FBA is still a viable business model without having to source from China? Yes, I think FBA is a very viable business model regardless of where you search or where you source from. Whether or not you'll be able to source your goods in the US is going to depend heavily on what type of product it is. I've heard a very similar question or statement to this a lot of times from a lot of different people. And in theory, it sounds really nice. You know, a lot of people may want to source from the US because they would rather keep the kind of like the jobs domestically. Other people believe they would have higher quality. Some people think that just the headaches from not having to import are easier. So, I mean, these are all like potential positives for you or for your particular business. What happens usually to the people who kind of like ask me about this or say this is they're not able to find the factories in the US. There's very little manufacturing that goes on in the US unless you're building the factory yourself. My guess is you're probably going to have a hard time, but it really depends what kind of product you have. There's still some manufacturing going on in the US, but it is, yeah, it just differs depending on the product. What's the best way to negotiate with suppliers? The best way to negotiate with suppliers is to find two factories that can both make your goods and essentially put them in kind of like a bidding war against each other. I've found that, I mean, there's tons of, entire books written about negotiating tactics. I'm probably not the best in the world at it. So the one thing that I know works well for me is just legitimately having someone else that's cheaper and saying like, hey, I would go with you if you're cheaper than this, and kind of a little bit of a bidding war. Demand is currently high and volatile. As a new seller, how bad is it to run out of inventory? Is this different for wholesale and private label? Running out of inventory sucks because you miss out on all those sales. Once you get back in stock, I'd say most of the time you'll kind of regain your organic rankings fairly easily. Sometimes it's more difficult. Is this different for wholesale and private label? Yes, it is a little bit different because when you're doing wholesale, there's probably still other sellers on that particular listing. Whereas when you do private label, you'll probably be the only one, so it'll just be out of stock. But I would say like, don't let this deter you from getting started because demand's high and volatile right now. Like, it's much better to have sales during a time that it's volatile than like not have any sales at all. Because I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it's not really that big of a deal to run out of inventory. What's the difference between the Jungle Scout extension and the app? Yeah, so the Jungle Scout extension, it works on the Amazon search page. So right now, I'm on Amazon. I've installed the Jungle Scout extension. So when I click it, it's showing me all these data points right here on Amazon. I can see price and sales and reviews, and I can see historical information in here. So this is really cool. It gives a lot of good data points, and it's very just kind of like usable and quick and easy because most of us are going to be browsing Amazon and seeing what our competitors are up to or whatever else. The Jungle Scout product itself looks like this. So this is a web application. It has a lot of functionality inside of it, everything to help you find new opportunities on Amazon, to find suppliers, do your keyword research, build optimized listings, track how you're ranking, help you launch your products, follow up emails, gives you sales analytics. Earlier, someone was asking about organic sales versus PPC sales. Right here, it's spelling those out for me, helps with your inventory management. So there's tons and tons of functionality, both for people who are looking to get started on Amazon and those who are already selling on Amazon inside of Jungle Scout. So both of them are really nice to have. And what we find with most customers is the majority of people choose to purchase both of them. In terms of the current market, Amazon's focus on essentials. Can you please elaborate in terms of what exactly constitutes essentials? This is not clear-cut by any means. The essential products are the ones that they chose were essential, are essentially are the products that I would say are necessary to maintain your everyday life. So these would be things like your toiletries, your shampoo, or your toilet paper, or food items, a lot of items like dog food, items like that. So those were like the first group. And then with that, I would say medical supplies as well. And then, so it started off like the most strict. And then it seems like every day they add more and more products like to that list. So now, if you browse around on Amazon, the products that are showing that they won't ship for like 2 more weeks, those are the ones that they've essentially deemed non-essential. The ones that have fairly normal ship times, like it's going to arrive in the next few days and it's FBA, those are the ones that they have deemed essential. But what you're going to find is it feels like more than half of products now are now like in this essential category. And I've said this a few times, but I'm guessing in a week or two, it's just going to be all products are back to normal again. Is Jungle Scout enough to use as a backend keyword for Amazon listing, or do you recommend an external site that has keywords to boost the ranking? With Jungle Scout, you can definitely build a well-optimized listing. So Jungle Scout has a really robust way to do keyword research. We've already spoken about that a little bit. But then we have this really cool listing builder, and this is actually new. What you do is you can optimize one of your listings on Amazon or start a brand new listing. You can do more keyword research or choose from the keyword research that you've already done. I'll just do this one. It has a cool way to process the keywords, so you can remove duplicates or special characters or whatever else. I'm just going to go ahead and do this quickly. And then here is a listing builder. So what happens with this is I can see all the individual words as well as all the phrases and their search volume written right next to it. So the benefit of this is after I type in the words that I've used, it will actually remove it from the list. So if you saw that, it is removed. And then it also is showing me how well optimized my listing is. It's showing me down here what I still need to do and what I've kind of like already done. And that even works for the backend search terms that you asked about. So this is just a really good and robust way to either learn how to create highly optimized listings or go through and optimize your listings if you're already selling on Amazon. Will any new features be coming to Jungle Scout? Yes. I was just looking at our Q2 roadmap last week, and there's tons and tons of exciting stuff coming out. You can really expect like a new feature to be released from Jungle Scout probably about every other week for the foreseeable future. So we have tons of good stuff that we're excited about. When will Jungle Scout be available for the Australia marketplace? I'd say early summertime. Let's see. Hey Greg, I opened a seller account for Canada and sell in the US or any other country. If you have a account for Mexico, the US, or Canada, you can get a unified North America account and you can sell in those different countries, but you either need to choose the setting where they ship across borders, which probably isn't going to get that many sales because it's a headache and there's slow ship times. Or alternatively, you have to send inventory into the respective distribution centers in those countries. How accurate is the opportunity score? When doing product research using the extension, what data on the extension do you find to be the most valuable? Yeah, so the opportunity score should be used as a gauge to help you understand how an entire niche or entire group of products, like how good that potential opportunity is. So when you say how accurate it is, I mean, it factors in the demand, it factors in the amount of competition, and those are the two primary things that it's factoring in, like how much demand is there for this product and how much competition is there for this product. What it doesn't factor in are things like, is this item patented? Because that's really, really difficult to do. Or is this something that you would be particularly good at selling, or different items like that. So it's definitely good to kind of like help guide you understand what are good opportunities. Greg, this has been very helpful. Will we be doing these live Q&As in the near future for general questions, not COVID specific? I don't know. Should I? Let me know. Let me know in the chat box, or hit that thumbs up button if you think I should do these in the future. And yeah, I can do some more. What is the best way to get reviews? Insert cards still work? Can you share a good example model for insert cards? Insert cards, I don't know if I really believe in them that much. They're relatively easy to do, so I would recommend doing it. They're relatively easy to do, so it's like if you wanna, or if you kind of have the time, you can go for it. The best way to get reviews right now, though, by far, is the request a review that's built into Amazon. So this is pretty new on Amazon. But what it is, let me actually fix my dates here real quick. Amazon actually built in functionality. Let me just do, to help you get more reviews. All right, and how this works is, if you don't have the Jungle Scout extension, how this works is you click into a product and you click request a review. Well, it was more than a month ago. But anyway, you go in and you click through and click the request a review. Now, if you have the Jungle Scout extension, instead of having to manually go in and click on each of these, let me just change this real quick. Instead of having to manually go in and click each of these, so this is how it would work. I would have to click in right there, and then I'd do request a review. And then, are you sure you want to? Yes, of course, I'm sure I want a review from this person. And you have to go back. So this takes like, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds per order. So you can do that. But actually, if you have the Jungle Scout extension, what you can do is it adds in this button, and you just click it, and it automatically just requests reviews for all of your orders. So instead of having to spend like an hour each day going in there and clicking the button, it's just gonna automatically do it for you. And this is by far the best way to get reviews on Amazon right now. What's happening when you click that button is Amazon is sending an email to that customer for you. It's laid out well, they've designed it well, and they are, and it goes out to everyone who like you click that button for. So that's by far been the most effective. We collect a lot of data and do a lot of data tracking, and you can actually, for people who started using this, like when you look at the line of how many reviews they have, you can actually see like, it's like a hockey stick type pivot of when they started to request reviews from their customers. I'm not kidding. That it's the only time that I can ever remember that like a certain piece of functionality on Amazon really changed like the trajectory of how fast people are collecting reviews. Any suggestions on which product lines would be beneficial after the COVID situation? Yeah, so this is a really fun question, and I've been thinking about this quite a bit. And it's like, okay, how, this is a crazy thing. This is probably like I'm gonna guess kind of like the craziest event that will happen in my lifetime. And life in business is not going to go back to pre-COVID after this, let's say this kind of like goes away, right? It's going to like permanently shape the future. So this is really neat because that always opens up a lot of opportunities. So when I think about like, okay, how would I predict that behavior is going to change post-COVID? One, I think a lot of companies will find out that working from home can be very effective. And instead of spending tons of money on office space, and instead maybe some or all of their employees should be working from home. So I think we'll see a permanent increase of people working from home. I think we'll see a permanent increase of shopping online versus retail stores. My estimate is that a lot of these retail stores will never go back into business, and that a lot of just the consumer behavior of how they shop is going to be transitioned to online. Prior to COVID, only 12% of retail sales happened online. So that just goes to show of how much upside there still was for e-commerce. And I mean, this is the reason that Amazon's hiring 100,000 people right now, and their stock's like the only one that is like still posting gains like just day after day. And yeah, it's pretty cool. And if you think about like, okay, like what other opportunities are going to change? I mean, I think that's just like a good thought exercise. Like be thinking about that. And it's like, what else is going to change about consumer behavior? Because it's hard to predict the future, but I'm sure there's a lot of opportunities with that. This is going. Hey Greg, do you recommend certain days of the week or certain times of the day that are optimal to request reviews with the Jungle Scout feature? Most email marketers would tell you the best time to land in someone's inbox is like after they've checked the mail that's piled up overnight, and then they are like at their computer kind of in their inbox. So that would be the like before lunchtime. So let's say like 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. or something like that. I don't have like data to prove that because you can't track like what percentage of those emails that Amazon sends convert into reviews. But I'd say you could use that as a kind of a rule of thumb. Let's see. I have the Jungle Scout extension, but the reviews isn't working. Do I need you have to have the Jungle, if you have one of our old Jungle Scout Lite extensions, it doesn't have this functionality. All extensions that you buy right now are like the normal Jungle Scout extension. If you already have it, when you're on the orders page, you have to click the Jungle Scout icon. It will request for you to give it permission to view this page, and then after that, it should work for me. That's probably what's going on, but alternatively, you might have the Jungle Scout Lite. Actually, if you hover over it, like mine says Jungle Scout extension, yours would say Jungle Scout Lite extension. I'm using extension, but sometimes it has incomplete data. For example, some of the prices remain empty. What's going on right there is it doesn't show a price if there's not a seller in the buy box. So what happens is if you click through to one of those listings, what you'll see is there's no seller in the buy box right there. And that's what's going on. Are you selling products on Amazon right now? Yes, I am. Do you find certain days sell more than others? It depends on your product, but generally weekdays sell better than the weekends. Where's Rolando at, and how's he doing? Rolando's doing well. He'll have to get on some of these in the future. Are non-essential products still being shipped? What are the chances of getting sued if your product doesn't protect properly? Can you put a waiver in your listing? Yes, non-essential products are still being shipped. A lot of these products, like on Amazon, it's actually not that many anymore, but some of these products are still showing that it's not going to ship until like April 27th. But I've ordered a few of these recently, and they always ship like within a few days. So I think Amazon's just like setting like expectations low for people so that they can prioritize what they think are more important items. But a lot of them are still being shipped. As far as what are your chances of getting sued if you're selling PPE and it doesn't work? Just like any business in the world, you do have liability associated with it. So you want to make sure that you're making choices that are, like don't put you out there for a lot of liability. I've never met or heard of an Amazon seller in my life that's gotten sued because of the product that they were creating or being manufactured. But just like any business or just life in general, it doesn't mean the potential risk still isn't there. If you all do not already have Jungle Scout and you're interested in trying it, we normally don't do this, but right now we actually have a 14-day free trial. We realize that there are a lot of people who are interested in getting to sell on Amazon, or maybe they had a retail store and they're trying to transition to Amazon right now. If you want to take advantage of it, it's junglescout.com/boost. I recommend that you check it out. And the future of e-commerce is bright, so it's a great time to get started. Amazon's request review feature looks great and the extension looks very helpful. Do you use any other methods outside of Amazon to request reviews? I do. Some of my products have a little product insert in them that asks people to leave a review. It's so hard to know whether or not those actually work, right? Because there's no real way to track it. I don't know if they really work that well. Some of my products have them because I just felt like doing it. It was easy. Other ones don't. As far as any other ways outside of Amazon to get reviews, no, I don't. There's not really many ways to help you get reviews that are like TOS approved by Amazon. I only do the white hat stuff because it's something they take very, very seriously, and they will ban your account if you do any of the sketchy stuff. But honestly, just with the request review thing through Amazon, it's pretty effective. I mean, it's like the best thing they've done in the past few years since they banned incentivized reviews to help you get reviews. How important is good customer service in being an Amazon seller? If my rating goes down for some reason, how difficult would it be to recover? If you use FBA, you're going to have very few customer support like tickets. Honestly, I would say I don't know for sure, but my gut feeling is maybe one customer support ticket for every, let's see. For me, I think it's like one customer support ticket for every probably like 200 sales. So you can kind of use that as a rule of thumb. Amazon, it does affect your account health if you don't respond within 24 hours. So it is important to respond to those people. You don't get that many of them, so it's usually not that big of a deal for people. Right now, they made an announcement this morning. They're not suspending accounts right now, which is kind of cool. So now's a good time to not give good, or like if there's any time to not give customer support on Amazon, I guess it's right now. But it does affect your account health. So it is something that you'd want to do. Nowadays, products like masks, hand sanitizers have a very good opportunity score due to COVID. Should I go for them? This is up to you. I'd say that if you have a source for masks or hand sanitizer, actually, Amazon might not let you list masks right now. I don't know for sure, but that it feels like an item that they might not let you do right now. I guess you just have to ask yourself, like, how long do you think hand sanitizer is going to have really good sales for? I don't know. I don't know, like, how long, we're going to be in quarantine. I don't really know how long this, pandemic's going to go on for. Maybe it's the rest of the year. Maybe it's only 6 more weeks. I have no idea. But I guess that's what I'd be asking myself if I was thinking about selling, say, like hand sanitizer. What happened to the keyboard trays? Are you still selling them? Will you bring them back? We are out of stock of the keyboard trays right now. We are actually a restock actually might be on the boat from China right now. I don't know for sure, but due to the Chinese New Year and then the COVID situation in China, we ran out of stock, and it's taken a little while to get them restocked. How frequently can you send an email for review? What would be the best strategy? So Amazon is getting increasingly strict on messaging your customers, asking them to leave a review. If you choose to do so, per their terms of service, you're allowed to send one email, and you can't ask for it in any kind of biased way. Now, I have heard of people getting not their account suspended, but it is like, I'd say probably 1% of people that are even following Amazon's terms of service and only sending one email and asking for a review in an unbiased way get their buyer-seller messaging restricted or banned for like 30 days. So it's kind of like up to you. It's not really that big of a deal to get your buyer-seller messaging banned, because usually people are only using it to ask for reviews anyway, but just kind of keep that in mind. But definitely only send one review request per customer, and you need to make sure to ask for it in an unbiased way. Again, if you have Jungle Scout, you can use our functionality. It's actually in here under email campaigns. And what you can do is you can create an email campaign. Oh, I'm maxed out. But you can create an email campaign that will automatically send an email to your customer asking them to leave a review. So that's different than the request a review functionality through the extension. The request a review functionality through the extension uses Amazon's automated process to send an email, and you don't have any say on what that says. With the email campaigns built into Jungle Scout, again, those automatically send to customers, but you can customize what they say. The latter one, the second one I described, that's the one that Amazon's getting more and more strict on, and it feels like it's like not enforced very kind of like evenly either. All right, Amin asked this 10 times in a row, so I guess he wants an answer. Do I have to have reviews and feedback to get the buy box with a new wholesale account with the Jungle Scout strategy you shared last week? If not, how do I get them with a new account? No, you do not have to have feedback in order to win the buy box. You likely will, though, experience that it's that Amazon slightly favors the sellers that do have a lot of feedback, but they'll still give you the buy box some. It might just be a little bit less than some of the ones that already have a bunch of feedback. And then after you collect some of the feedback yourself, they'll rotate you through kind of the same. As FBA is blocked, how much time will Amazon be receiving? Do you have any idea? From what I can tell, they're accepting probably half or more than half of products right now. My best guess is within a week, they'll be accepting all products, because like a week ago is probably only 10% of products. You know, as of today, I'd say it's maybe 50% of products. So I have to think like a week, maybe 2 weeks until they accept all products again. Is it possible to use the supplier database as a starting point instead of the product database, or is there a way to filter out Chinese products when doing product research? There's not a way to filter out products that are manufactured in China. You could, yeah, I mean, you could use the supplier database as your starting point of how you find products to sell. In my opinion, it's probably a little bit more difficult, but you can do that. How much lead time should you give for reorders? If you're shipping by sea, really like door to door, it takes 4 to 5 weeks once you factor in customs and everything else. So factor that in, and then you also have to, of course, take into account the lead time of your factories. How do you filter out certain products that there's lots of listings of hand sanitizer and thermometers, obviously due to COVID-19? Unfortunately, there's no easy or good way to filter out which products are inflated due to COVID. The best, what I would recommend for you is continue to do your product research and then check out the historical sales. I showed that a little bit earlier. I'll show it again real quick though. The easiest way to do it is in the Jungle Scout extension. All you have to do is you just click on the monthly sales right here, and it will show you the historical sales, and then you can see how this item performs, you know, kind of like over time instead of during this period where demand's a little bit different. Another good way you can kind of do it is you can go to Keyword Scout. You could search for whatever it is. And then actually there's a few ways. So I could do it in here, and I could see the historical search volume for this particular keyword, which gives you an idea. Another good way to do it is to look at the seasonality inside of the Opportunity Finder. So if I'm inside of the Opportunity Finder, I can see that, let me go for some of these non-COVID related ones. You're right, so many of these are COVID related. What you can do is you can go in here, you can click on seasonality. Yeah, a lot of these are going to be fairly new ones. And for the ones that have been around longer, it will show you the historical seasonality. What do you do when your listing price changes with the supplier and they raise the cost and shipping time? I would, let's see. I mean, it sounds like you could either negotiate more with the factory, you could try to find a different factory, or you can see if you just have, if there's still profit margin left, I think at that number. Is there reorder notification tools inside of Jungle Scout? Yes, there is. I can show you that. Inside of Jungle Scout, you go to inventory. There's the inventory manager, and this will show you when you need to reorder different products. Oops. My internet's going slow today. Whoops. So right here, it's showing me, so these items right here, like overstocked. Alternatively, the ones where you need to restock, it'll show you that. Let's see, let me go to something like this. It even shows you cool data like how much profit you'll make off of a reorder, recommendations for how many to reorder based off of historical sales history. So it shows you a whole bunch of really cool stuff right here. Are all these Jungle Scout tools useful for FBA wholesale also? Yeah, absolutely. They're built with arbitrage sellers, private label sellers, and wholesale sellers, all of them. Will another challenge be coming up? I don't know what challenge you're talking about, for sure. Let's see. Saw rumors that Amazon opened up the landscape to owning multiple seller names under one IP address or account. Can you confirm this? Amazon made a statement that they do allow multiple accounts, but then make sure to read the fine print below that. It's like you have to be selling different types of items. I don't know, there's a number of items under there, but yes, that's correct. Is the email campaign included in Jungle Scout membership? Is it risky to use considering Amazon's policy of only contacting customers through buyer-seller messaging? Yes, the email campaign is part of Jungle Scout. So if you have access to Jungle Scout, it's under launch email campaigns, and just do create new and you can create them right here. Is it risky to do considering it's you're only supposed to do it through buyer-seller messaging? How this works is this automates the emails that go out, and then it actually sends them through the buyer-seller messaging platform. So you create them in here, then it automatically will send a message through the buyer-seller messaging platform to the customer. So it follows all of Amazon's terms of service. So no, it's not risky from that standpoint. I spoke about this a little bit earlier. For whatever reason, like I'd say 1% of people get their buyer-seller messaging privileges suspended for 30 days, even though they're following all of Amazon's terms of service. Whether or not you're using our email campaigns tool or you're manually doing it through Seller Central, I have no idea why this is. It's not that big of a deal. It just means you can't send these messages for a month, but it's frustrating for people nonetheless. Can I use my UK company to sell in the USA? Yes, you can. Are you having issues ordering from the Chinese factories right now? The vast majority of Chinese factories are back up and running with kind of capacity as normal. So things are getting back to, getting close back to normal in China as far as manufacturing is concerned. Does Jungle Scout help you find a niche rather than products? Yes, it does. A good way to do this is by actually using our opportunity finder. How the opportunity finder works is it takes into account all the different niches on Amazon and lets you filter through them. Now, and then it's locating the best niches on Amazon right now. We spoke about this a little bit earlier, but what you're going to find right now is all the best niches to sell in right now are going to be like these COVID related items because they're going to be very high demand with very low competition. The good news is this obviously means that the opportunity finder works because it's showing you all the best niches on Amazon right now. The frustrating thing is you'll probably have to kind of go to like page 2, page 3, page 4 to start finding the ones that probably aren't just that aren't just very inflated right now due to COVID. Like if I go through here, I mean, you can just look through it and find the ones that you feel like there's still going to be good demand for long term, or maybe you just take advantage of some of these opportunities in the short term. Is it all right to use both the Jungle Scout email campaigns and the request a review button? Yes, I use both and I haven't had any problems with it. Are you going to do another $1 million case study with new features? I don't know. Let us know. We've been thinking a lot about it. We'll have to decide if we're going to do another season or not. How soon will you get reviews from the early reviewer program? The early reviewer program is pretty slow. It depends how well your products are selling on Amazon, but I would probably not expect it sooner than like 2 or 3 months. All right, we have time for about one more question. Let's see. Yes, do the $1 million case study. Oh, there's a few questions about the free trial. So yes, right now, due to the kind of the COVID situation, we were thinking about, okay, there's a lot of people who are either like maybe they had a retail store and it just shut down, they're trying to move online. Or there's a lot of people right now thinking about how they can start selling on Amazon, because honestly, that's where a lot of consumer dollars are being spent right now on Amazon. So we're thinking, like, okay, how can we help out all these people? We don't normally do a free trial, but we're doing one right now. So it's junglescout.com/boost. Right here, you can sign up for your 14-day free trial. Like I mentioned earlier, sales as a whole are up a lot on Amazon right now. I expect it to stay like that well into the future. So I don't think there's ever really been a better time to get started selling on Amazon. So yeah, here's a great way to help you get started. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap up this live Q&A. It's been fun. Thank you very much for all of your questions, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.